Hello listeners, Jordan here. I just want to let you know that you can listen to Nighttime early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are tuned to the Nighttime Podcast, focused on the fringe of Canada.
Hello listeners, and thank you for joining me again. In this episode, our story is going to take us to London, Ontario in 1983. At the time of this story, London was just over half the size it is today. And with just over 300,000 people, the growing city was still maintaining that small town charm. But many would say that London lost its innocence with the story we're about to hear tonight. On October 13th, 1983, then 17-year-old Donna-Jean Awcock was babysitting a neighbor's child at the apartment building next door to where she lived. And this is something she did regularly. However, in the early morning hours, when the child's mother returned home, she asked Donna to run across the street to a convenience store before she left. And this visit to the store, which was only a stone's throw away from her home, is the last time Donna was seen alive. A gruesome discovery at a riverbank in the days later would explain what happened to her, but not who was responsible. And now, nearly 40 years later, Donna's murder has remained unsolved, but it's not due to lack of trying. In fact, Donna's older sister Tammy has made it her life's mission to bring the person or people responsible for Donna's death to justice. And she's going to tell us all about it here. So tonight, in this episode of Nighttime, I'll be joined by Tammy Dennett to discuss the still unsolved murder of her little sister, Donna-Jean Awcock. So just to start, Tammy, maybe introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about you and who you are at this point in time.
My name is Tammy Dennett. I live in London, Ontario. My sister was murdered back in 1983, and I've been the sole person looking for her killer.
Yeah, and anyone who follows Donna's story or even read an article about it likely is familiar with you and your name. Are you, is it like an official thing that you're the family spokesperson, and if not, how did you end up kind of in the role of being?
Because I just took hold of it and I just went with it, and it was just like I wanted justice, and it was just I'm not a pushover, But yeah, from the get go, I've been the go-to. I just kept going and kept going and kept digging, and I'm the one that OPP will speak to me or I'll speak to them, and if they have information, they're going to come to me. If I have information, I'm going to go to them. I've actually got a very close relationship with OPP.
Yeah, and for a case that's been active for 40 years,
yeah.
I think that alone is a feat to still have maintained a relationship with an investigator and
Yes.
have them still following the case. Just before we get into what happened and throughout the past 40 years, at this point in time, how active do you see this case? Is there still kind of conversations you're having with investigators?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I won't give it up. I won't stop until justice is served, or I die, whichever comes first.
Mm-hmm.
So,
good. Well, let's go back in time a little bit. And with your sister Donna, is she your younger or older sister?
She's younger.
What's the age between?
Yeah.
Yep.
She was born in 66. I was born in 63.
Okay, so 3 years difference.
Yeah.
But that's three girls with 3 years apart, or two girls with 3 years apart.
Yeah.
It's still very close sisters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about your family, growing up. What was life like, and what was your relationship with Donna like?
Our family was very close knit. We did everything together. Every weekend we run to the beach. This was when we were kids. My grandparents lived in Port Rural. They had a cottage out there. So every weekend, that's where we were, at the beach. Friday nights, we'd go to stock car races. The whole family would go. Yeah, it's just like everything we did. It was like the family would get together. As we grew up and moved away, it's like everyone got together at my parents' house, Sunday dinners.
Mm-hmm. Other than you and Donna, were there any other kids in the family?
Yes, I got an older sister and an older brother and a younger sister.
Okay, so that's a pretty big family.
Yeah.
back in the 80s. It's a big group of kids.
Yeah.
You and Donna, as far as your relationship, how would you describe kind of your time together? I'm sure you, two young girls that close in age, I'm sure you had your moments, but overall, how was your relationship?
Donna was my babysitter. I was a young mom at that time. I just got married in June 10th of that year.
Okay.
But she was my babysitter. I had two kids and I was pregnant for my third. I was actually 9 months pregnant for my youngest
Wow.
when that happened. My youngest sister and Donna shared a room. They were really close.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They were really close. But like Donna was the type, like she loved kids, and that's unfortunately what took her life. Because she loved to babysit, and that's what she done with everyone in the buildings. There was like 4 buildings, and Donna babysat for everybody. I don't know exactly like who was who, but I do know this one that Donna babysat for, and it was a regular that Donna babysat for her.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about the night of the October 13th, 83. But what I know about that night is she was babysitting. So who was the person she was babysitting for, and what was like the relationship between her and this person?
Michelle Maynard. That's who she was babysitting for. I can honestly say I did not know her that well. It was my older sister, like would party with her the odd time. I wasn't a party girl. Okay. I was a young mom, and my focus was my family. So
this Michelle Maynard would have been just kind of like a friend of your older sister.
Yeah. And like she'd come and sit on the balcony and have a beer with my dad, the odd time. But after Donna was murdered, it was like there was no connect, nothing, not even a sorry. Is there any way I can help? There was absolutely nothing.
Oh, okay.
She was the most cold-hearted bitch I ever met in my life.
Wow. Okay. So Donna's babysitting for this Michelle Maynard the night of October 13th.
Yeah.
When you read about Donna's story, quickly it goes from she was babysitting to very late at night.
Yep.
She was going to a store to buy cigarettes. Donna was 17, so it struck me as odd that she at 2 a.m. would be walking to the store to get cigarettes. But I believe was she not asked to do it by the person she was babysitting?
Yes.
What is the story there?
Well, it doesn't make sense to me, and it hasn't from day one. And this has been my question all along: is when back in the day, back in 1983, pizza places had those cigarette machines.
Yeah, like a vending machine where you put money.
Yeah,
in.
Right. When Michelle come home from the bar, she had pizza. Her and Donna shared the pizza. Then she asked Donna to go to the store and grab her a pack of cigarettes.
Okay. So, and just to back up, so the Michelle that she was babysitting for had Donna babysitting because she was out, doing her thing at a bar or whatever. On the way home from the bar, Michelle picks up pizza, comes back, has pizza with Donna, and asks Donna then to go pick up cigarettes from this vending machine.
Right.
And
I should back up really, because when Michelle was at the bar, this is her words, not mine, that she had sat with a gentleman 8 hours and did not get his name, which I call bullshit. And this gentleman had asked her if she needed a ride home, or she asked him if she could have a ride home. I'm not sure the exact what happened there. But anyway, he had given her a ride home. They stopped at Originals Pizza. Now, to go into her building, you have to pass right by the store. So there's 2 times there that she could have got cigarettes and never did.
Okay, because she could have bought them at the bar or at the pizza shop on the way home.
Yep.
Instead, she gets home and sends Donna out.
Yeah. And her story don't add up to me whatsoever. So then I guess Donna doesn't return. But at the store, they had said that Donna had asked to use the phone. But they said it's not their policy and they're not allowed to do that.
Oh.
So Donna had left. We don't know if Donna got back to Michelle's house or if Donna tried to get home. We have no idea what happened after that.
And of course, no idea who she was trying to call. So the convenience store that she went to, my understanding is that it's very close to where she was babysitting.
Absolutely.
So, like, are we talking like a city block or two, like that kind of distance?
It was the
No.
apartment buildings were right there and the store was right beside it.
Okay. So,
The clerk had said that she looked, he wasn't sure if she looked scared or it was windy, rainy that night.
mhm.
So I don't know if that had something to do with it. But anyway, she had left the store. Supposedly, Michelle Maynard, when Donna didn't return, Michelle Maynard went to the store but didn't buy cigarettes when she was there to confirm that Donna was there and bought cigarettes. So that's a little odd to me too. So who was watching her kids while she went to the store? Did she leave them alone by themselves?
Hmm.
And not even rap on my parents' balcony door, like they were on the main floor. Like she could have rapped on my parents' door and said, "Hey, is Donna here? She's got my cigarettes. She's got my keys."
Oh, okay. Now, at what point is it that Donna is reported missing? Is it kind of or at least notice that she's missing? Is it
The
at this
next
point
morning. The next morning.
okay. And do you know how that happened? Is it Michelle that comes forward saying, Donna left for cigarettes and never came back?
No. My mom had got up and noticed Donna's bed empty. So she
Okay.
said to my youngest sister, Laura, she said, "Will you go and knock on Michelle's door and tell her to send Donna home?" So Laura goes and knocks on the door. Michelle wouldn't even open the door. She just said, "No, Donna went home." She goes, my sister said, "Can you send Donna home?" She goes, "Donna went home last night."
Ooh.
So that was a red flag too. Like, why wouldn't she open the door?
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I'm just thinking, if I have someone at my house babysitting and I give them some money to go grab me something and they got my keys and they just don't come back, I wouldn't be like, I assume they're just gone home.
right?
That's
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah.
Okay, so your sister comes back from this encounter with Michelle and tells your mom, and obviously your mother's not cool with
No,
this, doesn't
she's like,
accept that.
"What the hell?" So we're knocking on doors, calling people. Did Donna go babysit for you? Did Donna go babysit for you? Is Donna there? Is she hanging out with her girlfriends? This and that. And it was like, nope, 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 nope. So then it was my mom called the police and said,
Mhm.
"My daughter's missing." And they said, "Oh, you got to wait for 24 hours. We class them as a runaway." And
Mm.
mom pleaded with them, like, "My daughter's not a runaway. She has no reason to run away." And it was like, nope, nope. So I don't know. I think there was about 200 of us. We all started. Well, I didn't. I was 9 months pregnant, so I wasn't really going any further, right? So a bunch of the people in the complexes got together, and everybody went for a search. And the two young boys that ended up finding her found her out at Fanshawe by the dam down an embankment.
Wow. These boys that find her, were they like friends or just community members who
They were
pitched
friends,
in on the
actually.
search?
They were friends of Donna's, yeah.
Oh man. And so I'm guessing, like, the way I'm picturing this is words just spreading throughout friends and people in the neighborhood, like, she's missing, we're all going out and searching.
Yeah.
Wow. And so these friends who find her, not to get into like the horrific details of it, but she is found, my understanding is like you just said, they're on an embankment near a dam, near a body of water.
Well, she was close. She wasn't in the water, but she was close.
Okay.
I don't know if it was his intention to have her go in the water. I have no clue.
Mm-hmm. In this area where she was found, like, what would be around? Like, would there be a reason for anyone to be there? Is it a wooded area? Is there a road there? Like, what would this have been like?
It is a road. I didn't know this road even existed, but it was called Lover's Lane.
Okay.
But I guess, and it's part of the back part of Fanshawe Fanshawe Conservation Area.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
It called Lover's Lane because it'd be a private area that people could drive. That's not like the name on a map or something.
No.
Okay, I get what you mean. So just a private, secluded kind of road.
Yeah.
And she was found deceased off of the road, but down into like kind of an embankment near water.
Yeah, it was quite the steep embankment. Yeah.
Okay. And I've read that there is reason to believe that there was a sexual assault before her death, and the cause of death was strangulation. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
Is there anything about the nature of her death or anything related to that you want to say, or is there anything about that would be of interest that you think people should know about, or is that enough that people need to know about how she actually died?
I think whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. I don't think it was their first rodeo. It's just sad. When my dad identified her, there was a bag shoved down her throat, a plastic bag.
I can only imagine that people would have went nuts in the community worrying for their safety and wondering, who could be responsible.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about this time in your life, like back in 83, just in the wake of Donna's murder, like what was happening in and around your community and in within your family?
Well, after that happened, it was just like, you know what, you grew up and it's like, oh, that'll never happen in my family. Never.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, honestly, it was just, I was in disbelief, and it was just like, is this honestly happening? Is this a dream? Is this a nightmare? Like, but it was like, it shook the whole community. It really, and I think it still rocks the community today, just to know how that could have been anybody. You know what I mean? Like, is it somebody? And then it's like, I sit and I wonder, is it somebody that we know? Is it somebody that I've welcomed into my home? Is it somebody that I've helped through the years? Like, I just want to know who this son of a bitch is. Like, like he has no clue what he's done to my family. No clue.
And yeah, the idea of like the not knowing, I can only imagine myself, but I feel like I would be so suspicious of everyone I meet and everyone I see and everyone who I catch looking at me. I'm like, what's that guy looking at? Like, is that accurate? Like, do you kind of feel that?
Oh my God. You have no clue how bad I am. You have no clue. Like, I'm petrified of everything. It changed to I become a psychotic mom. It was like, I wanted to lock my kids up and like leave them in the closet because I was afraid somebody was going to hurt them. It's just like your mind just goes in a different place.
Now, getting back in this time, like just in the wake of her murder and maybe that, the year or two after, was there ever points along the way where there was significant developments or leads or suspects? Like, was there ever a time where it was like kind of exciting in that way? And if so, tell me about it.
When I don't know if you heard about the Joe Shepherd. He was a convicted murderer in Texas.
Okay.
He killed 2 girls. He escaped. I believe he escaped prison in Texas, and he moved here and just carried on his life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, when he was arrested here, I can't remember what year it was, but it was like everything pointed to him. Everything. It was just like, even a Texas radio station called my mom and said, you know that they found your daughter's murderer? My mom's like, what? But it was like when Joe Shepherd was married, he was living out in the complexes where we live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. At this time, like at the time that she was.
Yep. Now, we didn't know at the time he was a murderer, right? But anyway, he was...
And was he, sorry to interrupt you, was he living like under a fake identity or something?
Yep. He was actually,
wow.
I believe his name was Joseph Tripp.
Okay. And I'm just, as we're talking, I'm looking him up. He was actually arrested eventually because they featured his case on Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
February 27th, 1978. Tellico Plains, Tennessee. In a parked car, 16-year-old Roxanne Woodson fought off the advances of a man named Joe Shepherd. 2 friends watched from the back seat. Roxanne escaped and ran off into the night. Joe chased after her. Roxanne never returned. The night after Roxanne Woodson was reported missing, police went to the home where Joe Shepherd lived with his parents to take him in for questioning. The officers waited while Joe went into his bedroom to put on his boots. Joe reached for a shotgun. The officers fired 2 warning shots. After a brief struggle, they wrestled the gun away from him. He was then brought in for interrogation.
Joe's initial story was that he had attempted to seduce Roxanne, and she had gotten mad at him at his persistent efforts and had jumped from the car and run into the woods, that he went running after her. And finally Joe came back telling the 2 boys that he'd tried to get her back and that he didn't know where she'd gone.
Joe Shepard was booked for assaulting a police officer, made bond, and was released. For several days, over 60 people combed through the woods looking for Roxanne. Joe voluntarily joined them. After a few frustrating days, the search was called off. Roxanne Woodson had vanished. Until the afternoon of April 8th, 1978.
Roxanne's body was found after Joe's mother was standing at the window in the kitchen looking out, and she noticed that the dogs were digging and going on at one specific location there. And she became alarmed. She went outside and walked up on what proved to be 2 hands sticking out of the ground. Oh! She notified the authorities at that time, and they came to the Shepard home and did remove the body of Roxanne Woodson from Joe Shepard's mother and father's yard.
Roxanne had been buried in a shallow grave. Some of her clothes were missing, and her pants had been wrapped around her head.
At that point, the Monroe County Sheriff's deputy took out a warrant charging the suspect, Joe Shepard, with first-degree murder.
Joe began to fill in the blanks of the statement that he had earlier given, and he said that when Roxanne ran from the car and into the woods, he gave chase, and that as she was running through the woods, that she had fallen and struck her head.
He told investigators that he panicked and returned to his car and companions. Joe claimed he returned to the scene later that same night. He placed the girl inside and drove off into the night.
As a result of your investigation,
Joe was brought before a judge. He recommended that Joe be formally charged with the murder of Roxanne Woodson.
Down to the grand jury, bond is set at $150,000.
Detective Joe Graves had received an anonymous phone call linking Joe to another disappearance, that of a girl named Kathy Clowers, a local 14-year-old who had vanished 2 years earlier. Joe told them that not only did he know Kathy Clowers, but he knew where she was buried. He offered to take them there.
I took the pickaxe just to sort of relieve the guy who had been doing the digging, and after about the second effort, a piece of red cloth came up on the head of the pickaxe. I'll never forget Joe Shepard was hunkered down beside the hole we were digging, and he looked up with this cold smile on his face and said, "See, I told you so." He was proud, I think, of the fact that he had produced a body for us, and showed no emotion at all.
On April 17, 1978, Joe Shepard was formally indicted for the murder of Kathy Clowers. While awaiting trial for the double homicides, Joe was held at the Bradley County Jail. On July 17, 1978, one of the jailers was summoned to a cell near Joe's.
What's the matter with you, boy?
The jailer was lured into the cell by a man feigning sickness. After locking up the jailer, the 2 men went to Joe Shepard's cell. They released him, and the 3 men fled the prison. While the other 2 escapees were recaptured the following week, Joe Shepard remains at large.
I feel certain that Joe is a danger to society. The methodology that he put into each act was that of a very criminal mind.
These pictures of Joe Arlen Shepard were taken in 1978. Shepard has recently been seen in El Paso, Texas, and the authorities believe he may be living somewhere along the Mexican border.
Yeah, and just as I'm reading about him here, he was arrested for 2 murders one in 78 and one in 76. So just years before Donna, and it was a 15-year-old girl and a 16-year-old girl. So as far as like the, on paper, you take this person in hiding, living in that area, like an immediate area. On paper, that is a very strong suspect.
When they arrested him, he had a map and his belongings exactly where Donna was located.
Ooh, okay.
So it was like, that was like, oh my God, that is like everything pointed to him. Like it was just, I could not believe that it was when it was said and done. Now, like I've said to the detectives, okay, DNA proved he didn't rape her. That doesn't mean he didn't kill her.
And so that's how he was ruled out as a suspect or whatever, is they did a DNA and he wasn't the one who actually raped her that night.
But it just seems odd. Why would he have a map in his belongings of where Donna was found? Right in, like, I don't know. That's just hit a nerve for me.
Either way, like that must have been a pretty challenging time, especially when they rule him out and you kind of move the investigation away. Like I can only assume that as this was happening, your family's probably thinking like, we're gonna get this guy.
It was just like, oh my God. Yeah.
Wow. But in your mind now, almost 40 years later, like, do you still think he could have a part in this?
Yep.
And do we have any way to know, like, I remember earlier you talked about Michelle who Donna was babysitting for, sat with a guy at a bar for hours. Do we know if this could be that guy?
Well, her brother, Michael Maynard, was partying with that guy that night, with that Joe Shepherd.
Really?
Yeah, that night.
Okay, so not only is he in the area, he's within this group of people.
Yes. And Michelle Maynard's brother, Michael Maynard, said to Donna that night, I'm going to have you one way or another. Now, he was ruled out through DNA as well. And I heard that he moved out west and ended up getting, I don't know if he was beat to death or he died from a fight but he's dead. Michelle Maynard's dead.
She is, okay.
Yeah.
When would she have passed? And the reason I ask is she's someone who, if there were people within this story that I was thinking like, I want to hear what they have to say, she'd be top of my list at this point. Yeah. When did she pass?
She passed away, I'm gonna say maybe 8 years ago.
Okay. What, of course, with you on a quest to find out who did this to your sister and get justice, I'm thinking when someone as close to the story as Michelle passes, do you see that as a hit to, your ability to get to what happened?
Yeah, because I think she had the answers. Yeah.
Now, other than this Joe Shepherd, when he gets found through Unsolved Mysteries, which is just a crazy twist in this, was there anyone else who came to light?
Not this, no, not like
to that extent.
No.
So Joe Shepherd comes and goes as far as a suspect.
Yes.
40 years come and go. The only, I guess, as far as news reports that I found about Donna's story, the most significant update in that regard seemed to be the return of a purse, of her purse.
Yeah.
Tell me the story of her purse, where it was left, and how it comes back to your family.
We're baffled to begin with why they wanted her purse, because she never had it with her. So it was like for as many years as they had it, it never made sense. And I had to fight tooth and nail to get that purse back, which was so wrong.
Her purse was, my understanding is, it was left at Michelle's house where she was babysitting.
No, he didn't even take it.
Oh, really? It was just like at your mom's house or something?
Yes. That's what we don't understand, why they wanted her purse so bad.
And it was law enforcement that takes it from your mom's place and holds on to it for, like, how long did they have it? When did you get it back?
I'm going to say, well, we bought the house 14 years ago. So I'm going to say probably 10 years ago, maybe.
Okay. Or actually, I'm looking here. I see an article from January 2017 with the headline, "Purse from the Unsolved Murder of Donna Awcock returned to family." So maybe 6-ish years ago.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep.
From the inside of a paper bag, Tammy Dennett brings out a purse more than 30 years old. It belonged to her sister, London murder victim Donna-Jean Awcock.
It was like opening a time capsule. It was pretty amazing.
Inside the purse, Dennett finds many things a teenage girl of the early 1980s would have, like a notebook with the phone numbers of her friends. But most surprisingly, she finds pictures. There are photos of a happy Donna, her friends and family. Dozens are stuffed inside, including one of Donna and Tammy.
You just remember, when you see the pictures, it's just like she was a person.
Donna's mother, Carolyn, who rarely speaks publicly about the details of her daughter's murder, broke her silence today with great emotion.
Because, for somebody to grab her and rape her and beat her, and she didn't deserve what someone did to her.
So you say you fought tooth and nail, so you knew they had this purse. Tell me a bit about the battle to get it.
Well, I just kept asking for it, and it was like, first, we don't know where it is. We'll have to, find out where it is and, who's got it. And Randy Wright come on, and he was a new detective on the case. And I said to him, I've been trying for years to get Donna's purse back. I want that. I want her purse back. Mm-hmm. He was the one that brought it back to me.
Okay.
And he said to me, he goes, I don't want you to open it right now. He goes, open it when I'm gone, because it's like a time capsule. And that it was.
Yeah. So you get this purse that you haven't seen in 30 something years. Who's with you when you open it? Is it you and your mom?
I think my mom was still sleeping at the time, but yeah, I opened it and I was sitting here by myself and I just bawled my eyes out. I could not stop crying. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm just baffled today. It's awful.
When you get the purse, when you open it, I read a lot about the different things that were found in the purse. Do you remember anything, like when you opened it up and went through what was inside, do you remember any kind of specific thing that really hit you and really affected you as far as the time capsule kind of nature of it?
The family photos. It was just like, oh my God, it was just pictures that I don't remember seeing, that obviously meant something to her. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was the pictures that's what touched me big time.
Mm-hmm. And I know one of the pictures is of you and her sitting together on a couch.
Yes.
Which you would have been seeing that picture basically for the first time 30 something years later.
Yes.
Which has to be hard to see you sitting with your murdered younger sister.
Yes.
In our talk tonight, you talked a lot about, how much it's changed your family, especially what it's done to your dad. Is your dad still with us?
No.
No. Okay.
Actually, my dad passed away 18 years ago today.
Did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did it, in the way you described it, it seems like it affected him especially so. Am I reading that right from you?
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about that. What did this, as a father myself, I certainly see myself as the protector of my children.
Yeah.
And if something happened to my children, I can't imagine how it would feel, but I can only imagine that I would feel like I, let them down in some way or should have been there.
Yeah,
or something.
I think that's exactly how my dad felt. He felt like I didn't protect her. My dad, we couldn't talk about it in front of him. If something was mentioned, it was you could just see Dad just clam right up, and it was he pretty much just asked us, please, I don't want to talk about it. We asked him, please, Dad, go into therapy, get talk. He goes, I can't. I know. He lost his job. He just went downhill. It was just awful what it did to him. We just sat back and watched him his life just slip away. He just quit living. And one of his babies were murdered, and then it affected my parents' marriage too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And now, again, with the passage of just about 40 years at this point, in which capacity or in which way is Donna still a part of your life now? In your case, I know it's unique because you're put yourself out there like we're doing now, talking about her and advocating for her. But for besides that, and for the rest of your family, what role does Donna play in your life at this point?
Well, what I've done for this will be the 12th year, is I buy for a family at Christmas in Donna's honor.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, because for kids that, wouldn't get a Christmas. So there's like, I'm going to say there's probably 60 of us that we go and we do a luncheon, we play Secret Santa amongst ourselves, and then we donate money and we call the school and we say, pick us a family.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we did 2 families we did 1 family and 2 seniors. So this is what we do every year. I do a walk of October 13th I don't know exactly Donna's steps, but I go from Michelle's building to the store,
mm-hmm.
from the store to Michelle's building, where people see how close she really was
mm-hmm.
and how close she really was to our house. I do this every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I do everything I can to keep her out there.
And just so I get the geography right, so maybe just in terms of like walking distance, if you were to walk from Michelle's building to the store, just roughly in minutes, like how quick of a walk is that?
Probably 2 minutes.
Okay. And how far would the house that you would have been living in the time been, 10-minute walk?
No, she was like right across from my parents' balcony and Michelle's balcony. My parents lived on the main floor. Michelle lived on the second floor in the other building. But you could see Michelle's balcony from where my parents lived.
Okay, so like
Donna was closer to home than she was Michelle's, like in seconds, right?
So we're talking about like the distance you could like throw a rock, like you're like right on top of these places. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And just one other question. This is taking us back to earlier in the discussion, but something I wanted to ask that I didn't is, back in 83, if you could kind of describe like your community and the town at this point, would it have been a dangerous area or an area where you would worry about a 17-year-old running across the street to the store?
No, it was like everybody was friendly, everybody knew each other. It was always hi, bye, but it was like after that, it was just like everybody was scared to walk the halls, and it just it changed a lot of people, and I'm sure to this day it changed a lot of people.
And this, the way you describe it is your family's balcony and Michelle's balcony weren't that far apart. Were they just 2 kind of neighboring buildings, or was it kind of one apartment complex of multiple buildings?
There was 84, 86, and 88 Cheyenne Ave. There was 3 buildings. There was quite a few apartments in each building. And
Joe Shepard was living in one of these 3 buildings as well? Wow.
Joe Shepard lived in 84. Michelle Maynard lived in 86, and my parents lived in 88.
Update. London, Ontario, Canada. The 10-year search for Joe Shepard has ended.
After the Unsolved Mystery show on October the 5th, we received a phone call from a local resident saying that he believed the guy called Shepard was in fact living in London under the name Joseph Tripp. We began an investigation, and when we had identified him to our satisfaction as Shepard, he was arrested.
At the time of his arrest, Shepard was living in a government housing project in London, Ontario, with his common-law wife and their 2 children.
It seems apparent that Mr. Shepard was in London, Canada, within a matter of days after his escape from Bradley County.
Whenever you see recent news articles about Donna's case pleading for information, you see references to a reward for information. I think the number I saw was $50,000.
Yes. Yeah.
Where is this reward coming from? Is this something from the police, or where is
from
this?
OPP? Yes.
Okay, and it's a reward for information leading to an arrest, I assume.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know, like, this reward has been offered for quite some time? Do you know if it's generated any kind of tips or leads as far as you know?
I still get tips in today. I wouldn't say it's got anything to do with the poster.
Mm-hmm. It can't hurt, because you need something to loosen someone's lips at the right moment.
Absolutely.
And $50,000 is enough money to get you on your way if you know
right?
something. One last thing I want to hear about, and I couldn't find any major articles about this, but I have seen it referenced a few points, is some discussion about the OPP's refusal to test something for DNA? Is there something that's outstanding where there's interest in having something tested for DNA, or am I misunderstanding that?
I know there's, I've asked OPP to, generic, I can't remember if I'm going to say it right.
Familial DNA.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
I guess there's not enough DNA left to do that.
Okay, so yeah, and for people who listen who don't understand it, so let's say, for example, if they have a DNA sample for the person whoever raped her, they know it's not Joe Shepherd, but if they can get a DNA profile for who that is and compare it with like Ancestry.com and these types of services, maybe they won't find who did it, but they'll know, it's someone within this family, that sort of. And I've seen some major cases in the U.S. be solved as a result of that. But as far as at this point, there's not enough of a profile that's
what I'm being told by OPP. There's not enough DNA left to do this. So that's really bummer for me.
Yeah, but there may not be enough DNA in 2022, but as that technology improves, if they have anything, it's in 10 years, what we're doing today in DNA testing is probably going to be this archaic method. So, hopefully, that could work out. And that is still a fairly new kind of technology, this idea of finding other people within a family from a DNA profile. But there is hope there for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Just to wrap this up, for anyone who is interested in Donna's story and wants to learn more, where would you direct them? Like, what is the best way that they can find out more about her story and maybe get involved?
I have a Facebook page up, Justice for Donna-Jean Awcock. I believe I made that up in 2009. There's over 3,000 members in there. They could contact me at Tammy Dennett at Outlook.com. I'm always willing to talk to anybody. I just come forward, please.
I want to thank you for joining Tammy and I for our discussion surrounding the unsolved murder of her sister, Donna Awcock. If you're interested in following this case closer or learning a bit more, I'd suggest joining Tammy's Facebook group, Justice for Donna-Jean Awcock. I've added a link in the episode description that'll get you there. And a message to anyone listening who may have some information about this case. Please do the right thing and contact the Ontario Police and let them know what you know. Just like Tammy said, someone out there knows something. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this episode, but before we part, I want to give some thanks. First, a big thanks to Tammy for sharing an evening with me and with you, the listeners of Nighttime. I'd also like to thank Monty Data for contributing the music for this episode. It's a piece called Noir Tokyo. And lastly, but most importantly, I have a massive thank you to everyone who listens to Nighttime, as without your interest and your support, this show would be as pointless as it would be impossible. But with that said, keeping the show alive is and has always been an uphill battle. So if you want to help take a bit of weight off the show's back, make sure you're listening on the premium feed. Not only does the premium feed make the show possible, it'll give you more of each topic than you'll find here on the free feed, as I'm adding exclusive content regularly and maintain a full back catalog of episodes only on the premium feed. So for about the price of a cup of coffee, subscribe to the premium feed at patreon.com/nighttime podcast. And with that said, let me thank the newest subscribers, Angela, Kelly, and Rachel. Thank you for going premium. If anyone else would like to support the show but can't do it via a premium feed subscription, you can give me a big hand by simply sharing this episode on social media and letting some like-minded friends know what we're doing here. If you have any story ideas, if you want to give feedback on an episode, or if you'd like to contribute a voice memo to be aired in an upcoming episode, you can do all that and more at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And I hope to hear from you. But until then, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and let me know if you see anything weird.
The Nighttime Podcast is written, hosted, and produced by Jordan Bonaparte.